Nine Inch Nails, Bad Witch. 6 tracks, 30 minutes, the 9th studio album from the Trent Reznor fronted band, and I again use the term band loosely. Released June 2018 via the Null Corporation and Capitol. Produced by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. One single has been released in God Break Down the Door. The album has peaked number 12 in the UK, number 9 here in Australia. This was originally meant to be the third of a trilogy of EPs, but evolved into an album. However, this is the outfit's shortest album to date, so it's somewhere in that middle ground. And Nick wants to go first on this one.
Yeah, the first time I listened to this album, I was confused, and to be honest, I'm still confused by it. The first point of confusion for me is, Andrew kind of touched on it, it's 31 minutes, so it's the length of this album. 31 minutes, 6 tracks, and I don't really count it as an LP. For me, this is more of an EP. Yeah, I know Trent Reznor, he confirmed the reason he's labelled this as an album is so Spotify wouldn't list it as singles and they'll list it as albums, all that kind of stuff, which is cool, but strip all that kind of stuff away. 31 minutes, 6 tracks, kind of stretching it to really be cool.
I thought it was an EP until I actually did the research and
yeah, I mean,
it was an album.
Oh, when I queued it up and I put up the whole thing, it says 31 minutes, I go, are we sure this isn't an EP? But I did the research and apparently that was it. He said, we're listing it as an album, so it's not put into the Spotify singles category. Album kicks off with Shit Mirror, which is a nice upbeat track title. A song but honestly, this song makes you think, fuck yeah. You get along, it's catchy verses and pre-chorus. I actually didn't mind it, and I'm not the massive 9 Inch Nails fan, but I actually didn't mind that. Shit Mirror is...
Huge 9 Inch Nails fan over here.
Yeah?
Okay. I love 9 Inch Nails, so it'll be interesting to see how we go on this one.
Okay. That's followed up by Ahead of Ourselves, which is another fast-paced song. It makes you still go, fuck yeah, just a little bit quieter.
So it's like the fuck yeah you got when your parents are in the next room.
Yeah, it goes, fuck yeah. Anyway, the track is fun and definitely 9 Inch Nails, but the overbearing distortion on Reznor's voice doesn't really do much for this song. It's already a noisy and busy song as it is, so that possibly could have taken that out of it, I would have thought. After the opening 2 tracks, I was expecting it to be pretty fast-paced and noisy from those two. What we get is pretty much, I think it's an instrumental track called Play the Goddamn Part. Opens with a pretty interesting bass part, but then it goes straight into, I guess, jazzy track using saxophone, pianos all over the place. Not a bad track. It's actually a decent track and everything like that. Like I said, it's just very busy. It's jazz, rocky kind of thing. Not what I was expecting. So it was like a little bit disjointed, but that actually leads into the next track. The lead-in from that track into the next track actually works really well because it leads into a track called Play the Goddamn Part. I can do every song here because there's only 6 of them. Play the Goddamn Part is pretty much God Break Down the Door, so the track before, but with vocals as far as I was concerned. Because it was... This is one track where I started listening to it and I've actually got into it and thinking, shit, this sounds like David Bowie singing this because the lyrics were so reminiscent of Bowie. So probably one of my highlights and I didn't mind it. It's not a bad track. I wouldn't call it the best, but it's probably one of my more enjoyable tracks on this album. Does tend to get a bit repetitive, but no, otherwise it's pretty good. The final 2 tracks, there's another instrumental. So this is again the whole EP, LP thing. It's an instrumental track called I'm Not From This World, which I thought is, it's probably the greatest throwback to the old 9 Inch Nails. Like I say, I'm not a massive fan, but I do like the Downward Spiral album, especially, and I thought this was a good throwback to it. I think it could have fit onto that record. I reckon this track could have actually fit onto it.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
Reckon?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to really strongly disagree with that.
But after that, the closing track, Over and Out, and that's similar to God Break Down the Door in that sense that it's more instrumental focused with the vocals just being there. So yeah, I was kind of like a bit hit and miss with this, to be honest. Look, it's an album that has a lot of potential and lots of energy, and you can tell Reznor really put a lot into it. But sadly, it's not enough. There are some good moments on the album, but just not enough of them. Standouts for me were Shit Mirror and Ahead of Ourselves. The rest of the albums being really instrumentals or variations of instrumentals, so which I've never been a big fan of. So on a nail scale of 1 inch to 9 inches, I'll give this 5 inches out of 9.
Okay. Well, you've impressed Courtney Love because she called Trent Reznor with a 3 inch nail. But anyway, there you go.
But she kills her husband, so
Okay, I've never been a 9 Inch Nails fan, and this album did absolutely fuck all to change my mind. Industrial rock's never really been my thing anyway. Look, this isn't even industrial rock to me. This is like an electro babble, and it's shithouse electro babble at that. the best way I could describe it for those that haven't heard it, if you take all the really bad Prodigy songs and mix them up with all those shitty noisy bits on Tool albums that don't make any sense and put it together, this is what you get. So I've never done this before on this show, so this is the first. This one you get in the fucking bin. Done.
There you go.
Wow.
Well,
All right.
can we get an exorcist to get the den out of him?
Now, it's interesting to note that the band members listed for Nine Inch Nails are now Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross.
Yeah, it's just talking, yeah.
Now, the two started out as collaborators on soundtracks and other projects, and now those lines are completely blurred when it comes to what Nine Inch Nails is. It's pretty far removed from previous works for me as a long-time fan, and I love things like The Downward Spiral and Pretty Hate Machine. Pretty Hate Machine is a fucking fantastic record. If you don't like Nine Inch Nails, you should listen to that one. Have you heard that album? You suck. Head Like a Hole, man. Fucking brilliant song.
Listen to this album and tell me I'm wrong.
I'm not done yet. but the comparison, like, I understand, like, there were parts where I was thinking about things like of elements of the Downward Spiral where they've got the long, drawn-out instrumental parts, and I get what you're meaning, but as soon as the saxophone and the piano came in on that, that fucked that up for me, because that's not what industrial music is about as far as I'm concerned. That's a bit too nice. It didn't have that visceral anger and angst attached to it. It wasn't a dark feeling, it was a case of what can I do with this one to make it more interesting. This was soundscape type work, not dark and haunting in that regard for me. The music over the years has progressively shifted away from the heavier, more aggressive stuff and into more of this direction. For me, the original concept that was Nine Inch Nails is long dead and buried. The original idea of it. Now, this is much more movie and soundscape side than anything else, especially with Atticus now being listed as a band member for Nine Inch Nails. It is well produced, as always. Expect no less. From Trent Reznor is actually a really good producer. Atticus Ross is a good composer. So the two of them actually work well in those regards. It's got industrial production techniques artfully applied, and it does the job in that regard. It's also worth noting, which is bizarre, that Trent probably sings the best he ever has on this record. The different approach he took to singing on this one actually shows he was always a passable to good vocalist, never a great groundbreaking vocalist, but on this one he actually sings well, and it's actually pure singing. So he stripped it right back and he sang, which was the Bowie element that you're talking about, and he did that really well. So for performance side, he got credit for that, and that's the first I've heard him really just sing, and it was good. That's a great personal development for him. And I have to admit that while a lot of bands are bringing saxophone back into vogue, this does feel completely out of place on this record. And it's confusing. For me as a long-time fan, this isn't what I'm looking for when it comes. I've seen them live. I've got 90% of their work, and I fucking love them, and this isn't what I want to hear. When I say Nine Inch Nails, I want the dirt. I want it to be drugs and fucked up shit. This is... I'm making a soundtrack to a fucking... subway scene or something, and that's what it kind of felt like to me. Still got a bit of darkness and grit to it, but it's a different feeling entirely. It was an emotive, subway where the person sort of, under the fucking Detroit city, and they're just cruising along, introspective self-thought kind of stuff, as opposed to I'm fucking angry and I'm fucking loaded and I'm going to do something about it, and there's just none of that about it. There are very little guitar moments on this, and even the percussive elements are missing the crunchy sound for the industrial style of music. They don't have that for there. There are music little moments that throw back to the heyday, which is what you were talking about. There are touches of it here and there, but if you want like something like Head Like a Hole, you're not going to find it here. No. This is one of those ones that if you want a complete set, if you are a completionist when it comes to having the whole collection, then this is one to add for that regard.
Or a coaster.
No, I have my own, so it's alright. But or one if you want something different to check out, if you're into the soundscapes, which there's plenty of people out there that like soundscape work, so that's all good. But for me, it would have been a better representation of the whole path he's been on if Nine Inch Nails had stayed dead at the time that they actually called it a day, and then as opposed to being resurrected like this. If this whole thing had been revived under a different name, I'd view it very differently, but as this is put under the Nine Inch Nails name, I'm not going to be quote-unquote fair or nice to it. The trademark punch and visceral darkness has well and truly left the band now. The soul has left the body, unfortunately. 3 out of 10 No standouts for me, and that's from a long time fan of this band.
Yeah.
So anyway, check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think.